Set of Hurricane Irma. Of course, getting television pictures out of the affected area is very difficult, but we're just receiving the latest pictures from St. Martin. This is an island that comprises the French territory of Saint Martin and the Dutch section of St. Martin, and it has suffered terrible damage, as you can see. The high winds of up to 225 miles an hour and the wind bringing devastation. The French Prime Minister has said 4 people have been found dead on the island so far. No one found dead on St. Bart's, which is a neighbouring island, but it is being described as an enormous catastrophe. 95% of the island is destroyed, according to one top official on St. Martin. The airport, which is the third largest in the Caribbean, has been all but razed to the ground. The Dutch Defence Ministry saying that the picture they're receiving is one of many uprooted trees, houses without roofs, pleasure boats on land. The Prime Minister of Holland, Mark Rutte, saying the island is not reachable at this point because of the huge damage to the airport and to the harbour. Efforts, according to the French Interior Ministry, are underway to get supplies into St. Martin and to St. Bart's, but there is massive destruction, and as any attempt at a recovery mission may be some way off, of course, eyes are now diverting towards the next hurricane to hit the region, which is Hurricane Jose, which is gathering in strength. Not as big as Hurricane Irma at the moment, but with the warm sea temperatures, the fear is that Hurricane Jose will just pile on the misery to what, as you can see, is already almost total devastation in St. Martin. We'll keep you updated, and any more pictures that come through, we'll bring them to you. European governments responding to that hurricane. A short time ago, the Defence Secretary here, Michael Fallon, spoke following a COBRA meeting on the crisis.
I chaired a meeting of the Emergency COBRA Committee today, including governors from some of the islands who were on the line. I have made clear to them that these are our people, they're British nationals, and we're going to do everything possible to get help to them in this appalling devastation that the hurricane has caused, and to help in advance of the hurricane that's coming behind it. Now, we already have a ship in the area. Mounts Bay is there. She's already at work with her helicopters and her Marines helping Anguilla, that particular island. But I've also today authorised the deployment of a task force, a task group of several hundred troops, Marines, engineers, and additional helicopters who are now preparing to fly out to the Caribbean as soon as we can be clear what airfields remain open to us. I'm also diverting a second ship, our flagship HMS Ocean, which is now preparing to sail west towards the islands to bring the help that will be needed for reconstruction after the hurricane has passed.
Can you give us an idea from your meeting today the scale of the task ahead of these troops who are heading out to help?
Well, the hurricane has devastated. It's taken out power, it's flattened buildings. We were told today that it's even flattened some of the emergency shelters that the population had been taking refuge in. So it's one of the most powerful hurricanes ever to strike these islands. And the governors themselves don't know what the situation is in some of the outlying areas because there aren't telephones, communication. They're not able to get an accurate picture of just how widespread the devastation is. But this is going to be a huge long-term challenge now to help rebuild the islands, and we've made it very clear this is our responsibility, and we are going to make sure the islands get the help that they need.
There has been some criticism, the former UK representative Anguilla saying that boots should have been on the ground in advance of this, that the French have been more organised in their territories. What's your response to that?
Oh, we had our ship out in the islands already, pre-positioned for this hurricane. It's exactly the right type of ship for this, with its helicopter and its Marines, and it's already at work, helping the people of Anguilla, helping to clear roads, helping to restore power and get an accurate picture for that governor of exactly what's happening on the island. So we're there and we're helping, but obviously this is a huge challenge. More help is going to be needed, and that's what we've authorised today.
Finally, from your meeting, have you got any sense of the scale of the casualties, and in particular British casualties?
No, we're hearing reports now of casualties, of people who've been hit by flying debris, sadly. But again, some of the governors haven't got accurate reports because they're simply these populations who are out of touch with the centre in a number of these territories. But these are British people, these are British nationals, and we're going to help them as much as we can.
Michael Fallon. In Puerto Rico, at least 3 people have died and at least half of the island's homes and businesses are without power. More than 6,000 people are in shelters. Our correspondent Laura Bicker is there.
As the hurricane came through, the streets of Puerto Rico emptied. People took shelter and there was real concerns. As the winds howled round, at points it sounded like a jet engine. But thankfully and mercifully, the eye of the storm with those 185 catastrophic mile-an-hour winds stayed further to the north of the island, and that may have saved many lives, because as people emerged this morning, the damage is not as devastating as has been feared. The main problem here has been power. There are nearly 1 million people without electricity. 22 hospitals are relying on generators, and the power company had already warned before the storm went through that it may be some time before that power went back on. Around 4 to 6 months, they had warned. The authorities are still trying to get in touch with many of those in remote areas of this island, and there has been some destruction and there has been some major flooding in some parts, but there is a collective sigh of relief that they have escaped the devastation wrought by Hurricane Irma in parts of the Eastern Caribbean.